All right, today we're going to dive into a classic, a simple little story that has helped millions of people deal with one of life's toughest, most unavoidable things, change. Let's get right into it. Seriously, think about it for a second. When the world shifts under your feet, at work, in your relationships, just anywhere in life, how do you react? Do you kind of freeze up or do you get moving and adapt? Well, Spencer Johnson's little parable, Who Moved My Cheese, gives us a surprisingly simple way to think about this exact question. It's a really short story, but wow, its impact is huge. It's almost like a map for navigating the crazy maze of change. Okay, so first up, we got to get our heads around the big metaphor here. Cheese isn't, just cheese. It's a symbol for whatever it is you want out of life. That could be your career, feeling financially secure, a great relationship, or even just, a sense of peace. It's basically whatever you think you need to be happy. And the maze? Well, that's simply where you're looking for your cheese. It could be the company you work for, the city you're in, your family life. It's the world we're all trying to figure out every single day. So the whole story is built around four little characters who are all running around this maze looking for cheese. And what's clever is that these characters are really designed to represent the different parts of all of us. On one side, you have two mice named Sniff and Scurry. They're pretty simple creatures with great instincts. Sniff, well, he sniffs out change, and Scurry just scurries into action. Then you have the little people, Hem and Haw. They've got these big, complex brains, which is great for thinking things through, but it also means they can get stuck overthinking or get bogged down by fear and denial. And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. We all have a bit of Sniff, Scurry, Him, and Ha inside of us, right? Depending on what's going on, you might be the quick-to-act mouse, or you might be the little person who really, really resists change. The story kind of asks us to figure out which part is running the show. So, picture this. Every single morning, all four of them lace up their running shoes and they're off, racing through the twists and turns of the maze, all looking for that one thing they want: cheese. And then one day, bam, they hit the jackpot. They find this place called Cheese Station C, and it is overflowing with every kind of cheese they could ever want. They are ecstatic. Hem and Haw especially get really comfortable really fast. They start thinking this cheese is going to last forever, and they build their entire lives around it. But as we all know, things don't usually stay the same forever, do they? And that brings us to the real heart of the story, the moment everything changes. So while Hem and Haw are kicking back, getting complacent, just assuming the good times will never end, the mice, Sniff and Scurry, are still paying attention. They notice that the pile of cheese is getting just a little bit smaller every day. They see the writing on the wall, while the little people are completely oblivious. And then it happens. They all show up to Cheese Station C one morning, and there is nothing. It is completely empty. The cheese is gone. And their reactions? Totally night and day. Sniff and Scurry, they're not even surprised. They saw this coming, so they don't waste time analyzing it. They just put their running shoes back on and head right back into the maze to find new cheese. But Him and Haw? Oh, they are stunned. They start yelling, "Who moved my cheese?" They feel like victims, like it's totally unfair. And this, right here, just nails a huge part of being human. Because that cheese was so important to them, because their entire sense of who they were was tied up in it, they were totally paralyzed. The thought of letting go and starting over, it was just way too scary. Now Hem, he stays stuck, completely in denial. But Ha begins this slow, really difficult journey. He starts to get this nagging feeling that just waiting for the old cheese to magically reappear probably isn't a great strategy. Ha even tries to talk some sense into his friend. He's like, "Hey, maybe we need to change too." But Hem is just terrified. He'd rather stay in the empty, familiar station than face the unknowns of the maze. And then Haas has this, light bulb moment. He realizes that staying put in a place with no cheese, that's actually the most dangerous thing he could do. The risk isn't going out there. The real risk is doing nothing at all. So he asks himself this incredibly powerful question. This is the moment, right here, that shatters his fear. Just by imagining what he'd do if fear wasn't a factor, he finds the courage to take that first terrifying step back into the maze, all by himself. And as soon as he starts moving, something incredible happens.
He realizes the maze isn't nearly as scary as he'd built it up to be in his head. Just this simple act of moving, of taking back control, starts to build his confidence back up.
And you know what? As he lets go of the old and starts to embrace the search, he feels free. Absolutely free. He realizes he wasn't a prisoner of the maze, he was a prisoner of his own fear. The journey itself starts to feel like a reward. So, as Ha is making his way through the maze, he starts leaving these little notes behind. He calls it the handwriting on the wall. They're little bits of wisdom he's picking up for his friend Hem and for us. So let's break down the key lessons he learned. It's really a 4-step cycle. First, you have to anticipate change. Pay attention, smell the cheese to see if it's getting old. Then, when change happens, you adapt quickly. Let go of the old stuff fast. Next, you change with it. You move with the cheese. And finally, you learn to enjoy the adventure of it all, to really savor finding something new. The journey becomes the whole point. And that's really the whole thing in a nutshell. It's just a simple reminder that we can't always control when our cheese gets moved, but we can 100% control how we respond. We can stay behind like Hem, stuck in the past, or we can venture out like Ha and find brand new sources of joy and success. And that brings us to the final and most important question, the one the book really wants you to ask yourself. In your own life, right now, what's your cheese? And is it maybe getting a little old? Is it time to head back into the maze? What would you do if you weren't afraid?